So if w is a function of x, this is the chain rule for single variable. Similarly, we'll see how to deal in multi-variable or several variable. If w is the function of x, it is a differentiable function of x, and x is a function of t, that is also differentiable. Then the composition of these two functions will also be differentiable, and it is a function of t, and the derivative of that composition can be found by using this formula. So let us see one example. Suppose one function is given. What will be the derivative of this function? The question is, what is dw by dx? Or we can take here t. Then what is the derivative of this function with respect to t? So can anyone tell what will be the derivative of function w with respect to time or with respect to t?
2t cos t square.
Yes, 2t cos
T square.
t square.
2t cos t square.
So the question is how you are finding the differentiation. 2t into cos t square. So what you are doing, you are first differentiating sine function, and you are getting cos, and then you are differentiating t square, and that derivative is coming 2t. So in this case, two functions are involved. One is f of x, that is sin x. Another function is g of t, that is t square. So derivative of g with respect to t is 2t, and derivative of sine is cos. So what we are doing here, we are differentiating both and we are multiplying. But here this is a function of x, and because we know this is x equal to t square, so we are replacing x equal to t square. So we are differentiating sine t square with respect to t square. That's why this differentiation of sine t square with respect to t square is coming cos t square and then 2t. So the same thing is written here. So if w, then differentiate w with respect to x. So this is w, differentiation of w with respect to x. X means t square. So differentiation of sine t square with respect to t square is cos t square. This is the value of dw by dx. And then derivative of x with respect to t, that is dx by dt. This value is 2t. This is the chain rule in single variable. So, but in multi-variable, there are more than one variable, not only one variable. Means like single here. So, we'll see how to deal multi-variable function with respect to chain rule. Like, so like this is given. Suppose w is a function of xy. Previously, it was only function of x. Now here it is function of x and y. It is differentiable function. That means the partial derivative of x, so with respect to x and with respect to y exist. If x is a function of t and y is also function of t, then if x is a function of t and y is also function of t, so w is a function of x, y, and x, y are the function of t, so w will be the function of t only. That means it will be the function of single variable, and that is t. Then question is, what is the differentiation of w? So to attempt such type of question, what you need, first you have to very much clear that like w is a function of how many variables. If it is more than one variable, if it is one variable, then you will use the notation d, like dy by dx or dw by dt. If it is single variable, if it is more than one variable, then we'll use the operator del, and with respect to, like suppose here two derivative is possible, One is with respect to x and one with respect to y. Then we'll use the partial symbol. So here w is a function of a single variable and that is the t. So what the chain rule says that, like, we can do the same differentiation by putting x equal to here t, y equal to also function of t. So w will become a function of t and we can differentiate with respect to t. So what chain rule says that the derivative of w with respect to will be first differentiate w with respect to x. So here two variables with respect to x and with respect to y. They are only one function x. So that's why dw by dx and then derivative of x with respect to t, like we did in the example of sine t square, then 2t came. So here x and then x is also function of t, y and y is also function of t. Then according to the chain rule, the derivative of this function with respect to t will be del w by del x, because this w is a function of two variable x and y. So that's why this partial derivative came. And then dx by dt. Why dx by dt? Because it is a function of only one variable, that is t. If x is also function of more than one variable, then we will also write del x by del t. But here only one variable, so dx by dt. This is with respect to x, plus with respect to y it is del w by del y and dy by dt. So let us do this example based on this. Suppose w equal to x square plus y square, x equal to suppose t cube and y equal to t square. So question is, what is dw by dt? So one way, just put x equal to t cube here, y equal to t square there, and then differentiate. So this is the normal method. First find the function w in terms of t and then differentiate with respect to t. Well, we can easily find the function in this case, but in some example we can
Sir, you are not audible.
not find the question was the find the derivative of w with respect to t. So what I did, I put x and y there, so it will become only function of t. So now I can differentiate with respect to t. So it will give 6.
Sir,
Yes.
w equal to cube square plus t square square. No, dw by dt equal to how?
This is the question. In question it is given w is a function of x square plus y square, x is given t cube and y is given t square. Now the question is find the differentiation of w with respect to t. So now tell me, what is your doubt?
Sir, you write dw by dt equal to t cube square plus t square square.
Yes.
Sir, it is written.
Okay, understood. What is your point? This is w.
Yes, sir.
Then dw by dt will be the next step. So now the same thing we will do by chain rule. So chain rule says that first differentiate w with respect to x. So what is del w by del x in this example and what is del w by del y in this example? Now the same problem we want to solve by chain rule. W is given x square plus y square. So we can differentiate partially with respect to x and with respect to y. So what is the partial derivative of w with respect to x?
2x.
2x.
So partial
2x.
derivative of w with respect to x will give 2x. With respect to y it is 2y. And then multiply by dx by dt. So the derivative of x is given t cube. So derivative of x will be 3t square. Derivative of y will be 2t. And x is given t cube and y equal to t square. So in the del w by del x, which is 2x, that is nothing but 2t cube, because x is t cube. So all thing we can convert in t and we'll get the answer in terms of t. So if you write here 2t cube, then it will give 6t to the power 5 plus this is 2 into 2 4 and y into t, y value is t square, it will give t cube, which is same as whatever we are getting, finding the w in terms of t and then differentiating. So both are giving the same answer. So now we'll see, suppose it is function of three variable x, y, z. X is a function of t, y is also function of t, z is also function of t. Then w will become a function of t only, and its derivative is del w by del x dy dx, dx by dt plus del w by del y into dy by dt plus del w by del z into dz by dt. So this is the chain rule when w is a function of single variable. Now we'll see when it is a function of multivariable. So this is the example. Here w is given function of x, y, z. X is not a single variable. X is a function of u comma v, y is also function of u comma v, and z is also function of u comma v. So if all x, y, z are the function of u comma v, then w will also become a function of u comma v after replacing x, y, z in the w. So now w is overall function of u comma v, that because x is function of u comma v, y is also function of u comma v, z is also function of u comma v. So w, overall w will be the function of u comma v. Since w is a function of u comma v, so two derivatives is possible. One is del w by del u and another one is del w by del v. That means the partial derivative with respect to u will be what, and partial derivative with respect to v will be what. So the normal method is that first replace all x, y, z in the original w, you will get a function of u comma v, and then partially differentiate with respect to u and with respect to y, you will get the answer. But according to the chain rule, here it is 3, w is a function of three variable x, y, z, then del w by del x, and then derivative of del x with respect to u, because we are differentiating with respect to u. Then here del y by del u and del z by del u. Like same thing, here we are only single variable, that's why dx by dt, dy by dt, dz by dt came. Here we are differentiating with respect to u, so the derivative of x will come with respect to u, then with y with respect to u, and z with respect to u. Similarly, we can write for once we are differentiating with respect to v. So we will get two chain rule corresponding to two partial derivative with respect to u and y. Here we have only one. That's why here it is written dw by dt. Here also it is written dx by dt, because x is a function of only single variable, that is t. But here x is not a function of single variable. X is a function of u comma v. So when we differentiate with respect to u, we'll write del x by del u. When we differentiate with respect to v, will write del x by del v. Similarly for del y by del u. So this is the chain rule for if w is a function of x, y, z. Suppose w is a function of x and y, z is not there, then this this last term will gone. If it is only one variable, then this also gone. So I hope it is clear to everyone what is the chain rule. So the question is find dw by dt for this problem. W is given x, y plus z. So here w is a function of how many variables?
3.
So here it is function of 3. Y is given sin t and t square. So w is a overall function of t, because if you replace x, y, z, you will get only single variable, that is t. So in this case, the question is find dw by dt. So first we'll write chain rule. According to the chain rule, it will differentiate w with respect to x, because here three variables, so that's why partial derivative of w with respect to x, then dx by dt plus del w by del y dy by dt plus del w by del z, and then dz by dt. So here I am writing d because z is only function of single variable. If it is more than one variable, then only we'll write partial derivative. So now we can replace all those values. The derivative of w with respect to x is y, dx by dt is derivative of cos is minus sin t, then with respect to y it will give x, then it is cos t, then with respect to z it will give 1, and it is 2t. Now we'll replace x and y. X equal to cos t, so it will give cos t sin t with minus, sorry, I wrote wrongly here. Y value is sin t, so it will give minus sin square t plus cos square t plus 2t. So this is the answer. The same answer we can find when we'll directly put x, y, z here in the formula of w. We can differentiate directly w with respect to t. So this is the answer. So in this question, what will be the chain rule? So one thing you can do, you can directly put x here and y here, and then you can differentiate with respect to u and with respect to v. But suppose I want to solve with the chain rule, then what will be the del u formula? So here w is the function of how many variables? So w is a function of how many variables? Two variables.
Two variables.
Those are x and y, and here x and y both. This is a function of uv. This is also function of uv. So overall w is a function of u and v only. So if you're differentiating with respect to, then we'll write del w by del x, then del x by del u, then with respect to y, and then derivative of y with respect to u. Similarly, we can calculate del w by del v. Instead of u, it will become v. After putting all those values, we'll get the answer in terms of u and v. So the first one will give 4 times u, and second one will give the 4 times v. So now one more question I will give. X is given r cos theta and y is given r sin theta. The question is, find the derivative of r with respect to x. So how will do?
So we'll eliminate theta square
Okay.
and add.
Okay,
2x.
square and add, then
Equals to 1. Cos square theta plus sin square theta equal to 1.
yeah, cos square theta plus sin square theta equal to 1. The question is, find del r by del x.
2x.
2x. How?
X square plus y square.
Yes, x square plus y square equal to r square, not r. Yes or no? Even if you want to eliminate,
Yes.
you will get x square plus y square equal to r square. Question is, what is del r by del x?
X by R.
X by r. So everybody agree with the x by r?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So is x by r is the correct answer? Like if you are differentiating w with respect to u, will get answer in terms of w or not?
So x upon under root x square plus y square.
Okay, x upon square root of x square plus y square. This
So
one.
plus minus x.
Okay, someone is saying even plus minus also. So this is, I am putting question mark for the timing. The another question is, find this one. Now what will be your answer? Like differentiating r with respect to x 2 times. So R is a function of how many variables?
Two variables.
Two
variables,
R,
x and
so
y.
R is a function of two variables, that is x and y. So we can find del R by del x and we can find del R by del y if we want to find, because it is a function of two variables. So what you did, you calculated R is a function of x square and y square. So you differentiated and you got x by R. So how you got this x by R? How this x by R came in the picture? Can anyone tell how this x by R will come?
R is root over of x squared plus y squared and partial derivative with respect to x. And then
Yes.
putting x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared.
Okay. So can we do this thing, the same thing by chain rule? And the second one is, what will be the value of this? Double derivative with respect to x. Similarly, we can find R with respect to y, or the mixed derivative also. What? Like, what is the partial derivative of R with respect to this? If you know that one, then you can easily calculate this also with respect to y, even the mixed derivative also. So here you can use chain rule, or without chain rule if you want, you can do. So the next one is, this is one determinant that name is called Jacobian. When is useful? When you transform something to in the another variable. So here xy is the one domain, and we are going from xy to u comma v. Then that transformation can be given by this, like the coordinate transformation of x with this, x is a function of u comma v. So here it is written x, that means x is a function of u comma v, and this notation y u comma v means y is the function of u comma v. That function can be anything, like this y can be u square plus v square, x can be u square minus v square, it can be anything. So this notation means it is a function of u comma v. This is also function of u comma v. So like this, if you are in the Cartesian coordinate system x comma y, you can change it to the polar coordinate system by x equal to r cos theta and y equal to r sin theta. So this change of this transformation. So this is del x by del u. So first we will differentiate this x with respect to uv in the first row, and this one in the second row. So this determinant, whatever this determinant will come, that is called Jacobian. Where it is useful, how, we'll see later. But for the timing, this is the definition. I'm saying in two variable, if it is two variable u comma v, then Jacobian of u comma v, or it can be written like this, del x comma y, changing the transform. We are making a transformation from xy to uv. So del x comma y divided by del u comma v, and this value is nothing but this determinant, del x by del u, del x by del v, similarly del y by del u, del y by del v. So if question will come, some transformation is given, find the Jacobian, you can calculate the Jacobian by finding the determinant of this. Similarly, if it is three variable, then the Jacobian is defined by this. So x is the function of u comma u v w, three variable. So differentiation of x with respect to u v w, first row. Second one is differentiation partial derivative of y with respect to u v w, and then z also. So this determinant 3 cross 3, This determinant will give the Jacobian of this transformation. So this question, if you will not get, we'll discuss in the next class. And what is the application of Jacobian, how this Jacobian is useful, that we will also see in integration. If we will do integration in the several variable, then we will see how this Jacobian is useful for changing the transformation. So this is the transformation x equal to uv is one question, and y equal to u times v. The question is find the Jacobian of u comma v. Like under this transformation, what will be the Jacobian? Finding Jacobian is very simple. Here two variables, so only 2 cross 2 matrix will come. So first we will differentiate x with respect to u. It will come 1 upon v. Then with respect to v, it is u by v square. Then we will differentiate y with respect to u. It will be v, and this will be u. So now just multiply or find the determinant u by v plus u by v. So it will give 2u by v. You can see the Jacobian of this transformation. So find the Jacobian of this transformation. If you are converting anything from Cartesian to polar, then what will be the Jacobian? So calculate it and tell me. That means you have to differentiate x with respect to r and then x with respect to theta. Similarly, y with respect to r and y with respect to theta. This determinant.
R.
So Jacobian will come r. Because cos x r, so theta, it will give r sin theta. So x derivative is done. Similarly, y with respect to r will give sin theta, and this will give r times cos theta. So if you multiply, like if you find the determinant, it will give r times r cos square theta plus r sin square theta. So take r common. So the Jacobian will give r. So here only I am defining what is Jacobian and how to find the Jacobian. Where it will be used, we'll see in the integration. So now the next topic is the maxima and minima in two variable. Like we have seen in the single variable, how to find the maxima minima. First to differentiate the function, put it 0. You will get the point where maxima or minima can occur, and based on the double derivative sign, it is positive or negative. You can say that it is either maxima or minima. So something similar to that, what will be in the two variable. So let this the domain, and point x0 comma y0 is the interior point. So whatever we learn in the single variable, that will give only information about interior. It will not include any boundary point. Boundary we have to check separately. The same thing will hold here in the two variable case also. And function is defined from subset of R2 to R. That D can be R also. Sorry, R2 also. So when we'll say that local maximum, a point x0 comma y0, that is the interior point, which is not a boundary point, is said to be a local minimum if there exists a R is a positive, such that this notation b x0 comma y0 comma r means it is a ball, or in two variable it is a disk, center with x0 comma y0 and radius r. So if you draw a disk around the point x0 comma y0 of radius r, and in that disk if functional value at point x0 comma y0 is always less than f of x comma y, then this point x naught comma y naught is set to be variable is x naught comma y naught in 3 variable. That so this is the point. If you draw a circle or a disk here, radius r, then in this disk point, whatever points are there, like this point, so all points, the disk, in this disk, for all xy belongs to this disk, if you calculate the value of this function at this point, so at center value is always less than remaining point in that disk, then that point center will take the minimum value, and that is called local minimum. Similarly, for local maximum, the center point have the maximum value in the neighborhood of this or in that disk. So a point is said to be local maximum if the functional value at that point x naught comma y naught is maximum or greater than remaining point in that disk. That means center have the maximum value. Then it is called local maximum. And if it is maxima or minima, that combined name is called extremum. Like monotone means either increasing or decreasing. So extremum means either it is maxima or it is minima. So a local extremum at this point, if it has a local maxima or it has a local minima. So out of maxima or minima, anything it can have, then it is called extremum. Like a point is extremum, this means it can be either local or local maximum, or it has a local minimum. So when we are not sure, then we will say extremum. When we know it is minima or maxima, we can clearly say it is maxima or minima. So I think the definition is very much clear to everyone. So this is the picture. So I'm just handling the point where in the maxima it is written everywhere. So this point number 1, it is maxima or minima in this picture?
Maxima.
Maxima.
This point. So all this blue color are local maxima, and this point and this point. So here it is local minima. So this I am calling point number 2 and point number 3. So is point 3 is a local maxima or local minima? Point number 3.
Minima.
Minima.
Yes. So according to the definition, at that point, if you take that point as a center, if you draw a disk of radius r, that means in the neighborhood of that point, if you will get that value is minimum, then you will say that it is has a minimum. What about the point 2? It is maxima or minima?
Maxima.
This point.
Local minima.
Minima.
Yeah, it is neither minima or nor maxima. So I will zoom this picture and I will show why it is not a maxima and not a minima, that point. Here in this picture it's not that much clear. So it is written, this is called a saddle point. Saddle point means it is neither a maxima or nor a minima. So what should be the definition of a saddle point? It will say it is not neither maxima nor minima. So this is the definition of maxima, this is the definition of minima. So what will be the saddle point? Neither maxima or nor minima. That means in this disk there exists some point where it has this value is greater, and also there exists some point in that disk the f of x naught comma y naught is less than also. So this is true for all x, all point in this disk, then it is minima. This is true for all point in this disk, then it is maxima. For neither maxima or non-minima, you will able to find 2 points such that this condition will hold, like both condition will hold for those points. Then we'll say it is neither maxima or nor minima. That means it is a saddle point. So we'll see the definition of saddle point a little bit later. So what will be the necessary condition for local extremum in single variable? Like single variable, when we'll say that a point must have maxima or minima for the function f of x.
Derivative is 0.
Yes. So derivative, once derivative is 0, that is the necessary condition that it has either local maxima or local minima. We are not saying that it has a minima or maxima. So something similar to that, what will be the condition in multivariable? So here also derivative is 0, but that derivative is the partial derivative, because if it is two variable, then partial derivative with respect to x and with respect to y both should be 0. So that's why it is written 0, 0. If it is three variable, then partial derivative with respect to x, with respect to y, and with respect to z, all three you will put simultaneously 0. You will get a point where maxima or minima can occur. So necessary condition for a local extremum is that or why not is an integer point. So definitely this method will also give the information of integer, no boundary. So boundary we have to check separately. It has a local extremum. Extremum means either maxima or minima if this gradient exists and it is 0. Gradient exists means the gradient means partial derivative with respect to x and partial derivative with respect to y is 0. If you put 0 and solve, you will get the point where maxima or minima can occur. Not necessarily the point will be maxima. For that we have to go to the higher order test, that means second derivative. Now if both the partial derivative exist, if you put 0, if you solve, then you will get a point. That points are called critical points. So the actual definition of critical point is that x naught, y naught should be integer point, and that is called critical point if both the partial derivative exist that point and it is 0. After solving this condition, whatever point you will get, those are critical point. Or if partial derivative does not exist at some points, then also you will call those points as a critical point. So we have seen that in two variable how to check the partial derivative at point 0, 0. We have find some value also. So a critical point of a function f that is not a local extremum, that means that is not a maxima or minima, it's called the saddle point. Saddle point means neither maxima or nor minima. So now in this picture we can see this red dot. This point is neither maxima or nor minima. See, if you take a disk around this with the radius r, so this side, if you search around this line, you will get some point where it has a minimum value. But if you go like this, then you will get a point near to center where it has a maximum value. So it is neither maxima or nor a minimum. So this point is a saddle point, because in the neighborhood of this point in that disk, there exists some point
Sir.
where it has a minimum value and where it has a maximum value also. So this point is a saddle point, neither maxima nor minimum. So how this saddle look like? Saddle will look like this. This is one example of a saddle in two variable. In 3 dimension also we can plot, but more than yes.
Sir, means this is similar to inflection point in a single variable.
Yeah, it is something similar to that. So here name is called saddle point. So either maxima or minima or saddle. So the first derivative test is here. You have to check first derivative with respect to x, with respect to y, it is 0, 0. It will be in 3 variable. Then with respect to x, y and z, you have to do with all three should be 0. You will get the point where maxima or minima can occur. It can be the saddle point also. So like this is the example. The function is given f of xy equal to x into y. At 0, 0, f doesn't have a local extremum. That 0, 0 is the saddle point. Why? Because if you take 1 by n and 1 by n, like 0, 0, here I am not taking sequence. What I am taking, suppose this is the into variable 0, 0, and if you draw something disk of radius r, then in this at this point 0, 0, functional value, if we calculate the functional value at this point 0, 0, it will come 0. But if you take the 1 by n comma 1 by n, you can take even 1 by 2, 1 by 2 also. So if you take 1 by 2, 1 by 2, the value will come 1 by 4. So 1 by 2, 1 by 2 in the disk, suppose it disk of radius r, then 1 by 2 comma 1 by 2 in the disk, and the functional value at 1 by 2 comma 1 by 2, which is 1 by 4. This value is always greater than 0. That means f of 0 comma 0. So according to that 1 point, it is less than that. But if you take minus half or plus half, then it will give minus 1 by 4, which is less than f of 0 comma 0. So in this disk we are able to find 2 points such that one side it is greater, one side it is less. So that point cannot be the local maxima or local minima, because local, if it is local maxima or local minima, then all point, for all point this 0 comma 0 should be the minimum value, then it is local minima. For maximum, for all point in this disk should be the maximum, but this condition is not satisfying. So even if you take like sequence 1 by n, which is giving 1 by n square, which is positive, similarly 1 by n and minus 1 by n. So there are a lot of points, not only 1 by 2, even you can take 1 by 3, 1 by 4. So why I took here 1 by n? Because it depends on the radius r. So even how much small radius you will choose, this condition will always satisfy. Like 1 by n square is greater than, even n is very, like r is very small or n is very large. Even it is almost 0 radius, like if you take epsilon radius and epsilon is positive, very small, like close to 0, then also this condition will satisfy. So this point 0 comma 0 cannot be a saddle point. So this is just by using the definition we are showing that. Once we'll see the second derivative test, based on that also we can easily conclude that this point is a saddle point. So what is the second derivative test? Second derivative test, first we'll calculate the point where this gradient is 0 or partial derivative 0. That is the first derivative test, like derivative first dy by dx or df by dx with respect to that is 0. So here you will get the point. Once you will get point, the second derivative, you will calculate the second derivative of this function with respect to x at that point, then mixed derivative xy, and then yx, both are equal when this is continuous. So that's why here continuity is assumed. This is continuous in the neighborhood, so that the mixed partial derivative all are equal, and this fyy. So like total, how many second derivative are possible? 4 for 2 variable. For single variable only 1 derivative, but for 2 variable total 4 derivative. One is f of xx, then xy and yx both are same because it is continuous, and then fyy. So with the help of these 3 we can conclude that when it is maxima, when it is minima. So this condition, it has a local maximum if rt minus s square is positive. This is r, this is t, and this is s. So first we'll calculate rts, and if rt minus s square is positive and r is negative, it is maxima. R means the sign of this is negative. If rt minus s square is positive but r is positive, then it is minima. If it is negative, we'll call it a saddle point. Then we will no need to check r is positive or negative. If it is coming negative, then it is saddle point. And if it is 0, then test is inconclusive. That means we cannot conclude anything by second derivative test. Then we have to go through the definition. Definition means this definition. Like you have to check that it is positive, negative. Then you have to follow the definition in the fourth case. If test is inconclusive, that means rt minus s square is 0. So this is the end of maxima.
This again.
Yeah, this is the end of maxima, minima, and then we'll solve some problem. So first we'll do fx and fy. We'll put it 0. We'll find the point where maxima or minima can occur. Once we'll get the point, we'll find the double derivative, like what is the value of r, what is the value of s, and what is the value of t. Once we'll get those value, we'll calculate the rt minus s square. If it is positive, then we'll go to r less than 0. Then it is maxima. If it is positive and r is positive, then it is minima. If it is negative, then it is saddle point. If it is 0, that means this test is failed. We cannot say anything by this method. So this is the question: find the maxima, minima, and saddle point for this function. So what will be the first step? What we'll do? We'll do the first derivative. That means we have to find what is f of x and f of y. We'll put it 0 and we'll get the point x comma y where it is 0. After that we'll find r, that is the f of xx. S, we can calculate either xy or yx, and then we'll calculate t. This will calculate whatever point we'll get here, and then we'll apply the second derivative test. That means rt minus s square is positive, negative, 0. Based on that we can conclude. So what is the derivative of this partial, like what will be the differentiation of this function with respect to x and with respect to y? And then we'll put it 0. So can anyone tell what will be the derivative of this function with respect to x? Fx. So this as it is, first function differentiation is 2x e to the power minus x square plus y square by 2. Then the second term plus this as it is, x square minus y square, and the differentiation of e to the power minus x square plus y square by 2, it will give this one, and then derivative with respect to x will give minus x. So this is the f of x. Similarly, we will calculate f of y. It will give 2y minus x square minus y square e to the power minus x square plus y square by 2. So now we'll solve for x and y. We have to put this f of x and f y both are 0. So can you give me the point where these are? This will take the value 0.
0, 0.
Yeah, 0, 0 is the only point, or some other points is also there? You have to find all points. So if this e to the power function is never 0, so this cannot be 0. Only this 2 quantity will be 0. From here, if you take x as a common, you will get x equal to 0. And here if you take y common, then y equal to 0. But you will also get 2 minus x square minus y square. That means x square minus y square. So if you take common from this one, x, if you take common, you will get this 2 minus x square. From the second, you will get 2 minus x square minus y square equal to 0. Because exponential function is not 0, so we can divide by e to the power something, so right hand side will become 0 only. So from here there are two possibilities, either x is 0 or this term is this bracket whatever written, it is 0. Similarly y is 0 or this 0. So now solve it and tell me what are the possible value of x and y. Like if x equal to 0, we'll put x equal to 0 here. In this we'll get y 0 1 1 is 0 comma 0 is satisfying both. So give me some other point to satisfy. At y equal to 0, what this will give? At y equal to 0.
Plus minus root 2.
So what will be the point?
0 comma root 2, 0 comma minus root 2.
X is 0, y equal to plus root 2. X is 0, y equal to minus root 2. Right, if x equal to 0, the first equation is 0, y equal to root 2 if you put here. X is 0 and y equal to root 2, this condition will give 0. Any other point? Or only this? These are the only 3 points we will get.
Sir, if x is root 2 and y is 0.
Yes, so we'll get 2 more points. So once you will put 0, you will get 5 points. 0 comma 0 plus minus root 2 comma 0, 0 comma plus minus root 2. So now this all 5 points we have to check that which point is local maxima, which point is minima, which point is the saddle point. So we'll check the double derivative. That means first we'll differentiate with respect to, again with respect to x, this fx, we'll get this is r, this is s, and this is t. We'll calculate at this point 0, 0, all those. So what is the value of this at 0, 0, then this value 0, 0, then yy is also 0, 0. Then we'll apply the second derivative test. That is rt minus s square. So here I wrote all those value in the table. All points, r formula is given. This one, this is r. So this is r. This is not actually r. At that point, whatever value will come, that is r. Like if you replace this point, then you will get r. For each point, you will get rst. So you can verify these are the value you will get. Like if point is 0, 0, what is the value of s? If you put 0, it will come 0. So s is coming 0. At root 2, 0 also, if you put y equal to 0, you will get 0. So all points will give s value is 0. For r, if you put 0, 0, this all term will go 0, e to the power 0 is 1, so you will get only 2. So that's why it is 2. So rt minus s square is negative. Once it will come negative, the point is sudden. Here all are coming positive. So how will decide which one is the maxima and which one is the minima based on the sign of r. If rt minus s square is negative, it is saddle. If it is positive, it can be either maxima or minima based on this sign r. Here r is negative, so maxima. Here r is negative, so maxima. Here r is positive, that's why minima. Here r is positive, that's why minima. So the first point is the saddle point 0, 0, root 2, 0, and minus root 2, 0 is the maxima, local maxima, and 0, root 2 and root 2, 0 is the minima. So next class we will do one more problem based on maxima, minima.
So sir, suppose in one example we will find that RT equal to s square. Then
Yes.
what should we have done?
In one example, you got RT minus S square.
So
So first you will.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So RT minus S square will be either positive or negative or 0. There are only 3 possibilities.
Yes, sir, if it is
Once,
0.
yeah, once you will get RT minus S square is positive, negative, you can conclude if it is 0, then this test is fail. Once the test is fail, you have to go the traditional definition. You have to see in the neighborhood of this that function is positive or not. Like suppose I will give this function x comma y. If this function is always positive or not, always greater or equal to 0.
Yes, sir.
Is it equal to f of 0, 0 or not?
Yes, sir.
So can you say that 0, 0 is what? Maxima or minima? Or saddle point? Yeah, it is minima because in the neighborhood of whatever point you will choose, even not only neighborhood, because all xy it is greater than 0, 0. So it is a global minima actually in this case. But you can say definitely it is local minima even without test. Neither I did fx, fy, even rt minus s square. So you have to use the technique like this to show it is maxima or minima. If you are not able to show, then you have to choose some point such that one side it is greater than f0, one side it is less than f00, or one side it is greater than x naught comma y naught, one is less than fx naught y naught. Then that x naught y naught is the saddle point. So if it is test inconclusive, it will belongs to out of these 3 only. So that you have to check that manually, doing something like this. That is based on the question, how the question or function is given. So next class we'll see more example for maxima, minima,